is Inmaculada Pineda from the University of Malaga, and today I'm going to present the last video lesson for the training program for Clil teachers in Taiwan. Today our session is going to be devoted to Clil and gamification. I hope you enjoy this last video. Thank you. 谢谢. So on this last video for the training program for Clil teachers in Taiwan, I'm going to be discussing Clil and gamification. Again, I'm Inmaculada Pineda and I come from the University of Malaga, and this is my email address in case you need to consult with me or ask me any questions either about this video lesson or any other previous activities or video lessons that I had with you. So, because it's gamification, I tried to make this presentation look as if it was, one of those TV quizzes. Choose a category, gamification. You need to choose your question. Question number 1. So, what is gamification? Yes, gamification is the application of game design elements and game principles in non-game contexts. It also can be defined as a set of activities and processes to solve problems by using or applying the characteristics of game elements. Question number 2. What is edutainment? Yes, it's the combination of education and entertainment. Question number 3. Gamification can improve. You need to select the correct answer. It can improve student engagement. All other answers are correct. It can improve academic results, and it can improve motivation. Yes! Answer B was the correct one. Gamification can improve student engagement, it can improve motivation and academic results. Question number 4. What is the main goal of using gamification in the classroom? Yes, gamification techniques are intended to take advantage of humans' natural instinct towards socializing, learning, competition, achievement, status, self-expression, expertise, etc. The sense of achievement that students obtain after competing with each other in a number of gamified activities is very interesting and very applicable to the Clil classroom. Question number 5. What are some of the essential elements of gamification? A. Points and awards. B. Points, awards, badges, leaderboards, and teams. C. Badges and leaderboards. And D. Teams for collaborative learning. Yes, the correct answer is B. Points, awards, badges, leaderboards, and teams for collaborative learning. Question number 6. Can gamification in the Clil classroom benefit specific students? A. It can benefit shy students. B. It can benefit numerate students. C. It can benefit dyslexic students. D. It can benefit creative students. Yes, you were right. It can benefit dyslexic students. Question number 7. Can gamification in the Clil classroom benefit specific teachers? A. It can benefit math Clil teachers. B, it can benefit international Clil teachers. C, it can benefit early primary content teachers with a language background. And D, it can benefit music Clil teachers. Ole, you were right. It can benefit early primary content teachers with a language background. When language background teachers need to teach content courses in Clil for the first time, if they don't have much experience, it's easier for them to introduce games so that they gain confidence in teaching this new content that they're not so familiar with. So now that we covered the basics of gamification, let's talk about gamification in the Clil classroom. Gamification in the Clil classroom has to do with a number of issues or problems that we find when we are implementing a Clil program. Normally, when we are implementing bilingual education, particularly if this is the introduction of the program or if it's piloting a program, we have to face a number of difficulties, particularly students' proficiency in the target language. It means that students, if they are introduced in the Clil program for the first time or for the first few semesters, they are not confident enough, they are not proficient enough in the target language. In our case is English. Another issue or difficulty would be teachers' level of proficiency in L2. Many teachers are afraid to participate in the Clil programs because they might feel less confident about their proficiency in the target language, in this case in English. Now, particularly with early learners, with younger learners in primary school, the proficiency that they have in their own language can also be an issue in the Clil classroom. If they don't have the words, if they don't have the vocabulary to understand a concept in the target language, but also in their own language, understanding content can be challenging. It's not impossible, but it can be challenging. Now, material design is also an issue because material design is related to specific national curriculum requirements, and therefore many times it's difficult to adapt already existing Clil materials that are targeting different national curriculums. So it's not impossible, but it's a little bit difficult to find already existing materials out there to teach your content courses in English. And one of the other issues that we find when we're talking about Clil is the combination of content, communication, and cognition in the target language in English. However, Clil programs have been proved, research shows that they have, when we compare results and we compare students' engagement and students' participation and students' motivation levels between Clil classrooms and monolingual classrooms, we have higher levels of engagement and involvement in Clil classrooms. We have higher levels of motivation in Clil classrooms, and we have higher levels of output or production in the target language than in monolingual classrooms. Now, the advantages of using gamification in the Clil classroom, gamification can help with increased motivation. It can increase levels of involvement. It can increase self-esteem because students can have immediate feedback on how well they're doing if they are receiving points and if they're publicly being acknowledged on their progress and on their achievement. And also it can help with collaboration and with collaborative learning. Gamification can also help addressing complex issues and providing instant feedback and assessment. Also, surprisingly enough, it can increase levels of happiness both among students and among teachers, because they are motivated to go to class and to organize activities or participate in activities because of the game element. But gamification in itself, is not enough. Sometimes it's difficult to be systematic or consistent in the use of games and game elements in your classroom, in introducing all of those elements into your methodological approach. Also, there are expectations of fun. Students are expecting most lessons, if not all lessons, to be fun and to be, game-like and to be part of a competition. And it's not possible for every single lesson to be like that. Sometimes teachers who are using gamification are perceived as simplistic or lacking academic rigor. So more traditional teachers or more conceptual teachers, they view teachers who are using gamification as lacking seriousness, lacking academic rigor or academic level. Now, it is very important that you try to avoid the inconsistent use of this approach. Bringing one game once a month, this is not using gamification in your Clil classroom. Gamification, as any other methodology that you use, needs to be systematic. Let's have a look at some examples and some tools that we can use. So, what gamification tools can you use for warm-up, instant feedback, or brief assessment activities? Yes, again, you can use in analogical mode, you can use sticky notes, maybe with a number of activities. You can have questions and then the answer is under the sticky note. Or you can have a number of competitions and quiz-like games. Or you could have flashcards, for example. Obviously, you can create flashcards that are analogical, or you can use Quizlet. This is an app that you can use to create digital flashcards. Then you can use Kahoot. Kahoot is a software that needs a mobile device to work. So your students would need to have either a mobile phone or a tablet to be using Kahoot in the Clil classroom. Now, question number 2. What gamification tools can you use for review or pre-test activities? Yes, you can use in analogical form. Analogical form, you can use quiz games or trivia games or content bingo. And then for review, you can use Kahoot. For pre-test, for example, this is normally used for primary education. And then Socrative is normally used, is very similar to Kahoot with little, competition music and sound effects. And Socrative is very similar, but normally is a little bit more complex. So is normally targeting secondary and adult students. Question number 3. What gamification tools can you use for language learning and language review? Yes.
Any vocabulary list that you may have or your students may be exposed to, like this one in Simmons Elementary School, where you had a list of classroom vocabulary both in English and in Mandarin, can be turned into a bingo. Yes. Bingo can also be related to content. In this case, the list was about classroom language, but it can be content language. And in this case, students are provided with different cards, and the teacher would be announcing the different elements that she or he have selected as any other type of bingo. You may also play taboo, in which you have a word, a term that you want to target, like gym, for example, and then you have a number of taboo words that students cannot use to describe the item so that other students can guess what you're talking about. And then you can have Pictionary. You can ask students to draw something on the blackboard, and then other students need to be able to guess what the drawing is representing. Question number 4. How can Clil teachers make sure that they use gamification successfully? Well, they need to try to establish a balance between content-related games and language-related games. Generally speaking, language background teachers would tend to have language-related games, and content background teachers would have content-related games. But both of you, language and content teachers, you need to try to strike a balance between the games targeting content and targeting language. Now, also you need to keep public track of progress, not only giving points publicly to students, but keeping track of progress, maybe through little boards or by giving students badges or rewards. Now, in terms of rewards, you don't have to spend money on rewards. I'm sure you know kids are happy with almost anything. You can create coupons to give them something that they really want, like, share lunch with you one day, or become the teacher's helper for one day, or you can think of a number of coupons that would be coveted actions by students, and you're not spending any money. You can also create badges with paper, scissors, and sellotape, and students are also very happy to have stars or little medals rewarding them on a number of skills or content or language related achievements. It is important that you integrate students in the process. So ask students what kind of games they like playing, what kinds of rewards they like receiving, etc., so that they feel that they are part of the process. Okay, and now we're moving on to the activities and further reading. Choose your question. Question number 1. Chan. Yes, we have a discussion. Please answer these questions first in small groups and eventually in large groups. How could you employ gamification in your Clil course? Are there any difficulties that you can predict in the adoption of gamification in your Clil classroom? And how could you solve those issues? And now, can you think of specific methodological models that better link with the combination of Clil and gamification? So are there any other methodological approaches that can help you integrate gamification into Clil? And if there are, can you describe how could those be combined? Clil, gamification, and maybe some other methodological approach. Question number 2. Yes, surprise! Design a lesson plan in which you integrate as many examples of gamification as you can. Describe the point and the award system, the use of individual or collective tasks. Mention the use of badges and leaderboards, etc. Try to use games and game elements for the following phases of your lesson: the warm-up or brainstorming section, summarizing, describing objects and processes, analyzing, providing instant feedback, providing assessment, describing classroom rules, and eventually wrapping up your lesson. Now, my tips for today: simplify, use templates, imitate successful Clil teachers, try analogical games first. As with multimodal communication and multiliteracies, try analogical items first, and then you can dive into the technological part. And very, very important, be consistent, be systematic, including games only, to cover the last few minutes of a session without any learning purpose is not gamification, it's just using a game. And share your experiences, share your games, share your templates, talk to your colleagues, talk to your language colleagues, talk to other Clil teachers around the world. Here are some useful links that you might find interesting in terms of the benefits of gamification. Thank you. It was a great pleasure to be doing all of these video lessons for the Clil teachers of Taiwan. Thank you.